Okay, everybody, Sean here. Welcome to Coping with Cancer. Today, episode 14 is going to have nothing to do with cancer. I am actually going to do something I have yet to do on this channel. And it's not a sponsor ad, it's just me expressing my my thoughts on the new Crow movie. A lot of you probably, well, none of you probably know this, unless you were like close friends with me. But for years I was known as Crow. I still am called Crow by some of my friends. It's just a nickname I had forever, and it was because of that movie. And I love that movie. Yeah. And I love City of Angels, Crow 2. Or, I'm sorry, my bad. The Crow, City of Angels. Salvation, The Terminator Kid. What was the other? I think there was 5. Wasn't there 5? You had the one with, I should have this pulled up, but I don't. But I think there were. There was the one. Was it Eric Mabius was in prison, and the guy with the things in his arm? I don't know. And I want to say Kristen Dunst. Then there was the one with Terminator Kid. And there was City of Angels, which I absolutely adore. City of Angels. And those are the two that I can keep in my my love for. 94 and City of Angels. In fact, I have a sealed copy of 94 on VHS. I love that thing. I'm sorry I'm yawning a lot. If you're new to the channel, I do have cancer and I take medicine, and the medicine makes me yawn. So this review will be by checkers. This review will be with spoilers. This thing, it took me 4 hours to write my brain. It took me 4 hours to write my review on Facebook because I wanted to get everything. So basically, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read my review to you guys. Okay, checkers, listen, stop, go. Don't do any making videos. So, the movie should have been called Cash Grab. That's the first thing, because that's all this is. It has nothing. Here's what it has to do with James O'Barr's work. It has a character named Eric. It has a character named Shelley. It's called The Crow. There are crows in the movie. And finally, we get the skeleton cowboy. Except he's neither a skeleton or a cowboy. That's it. That's what you get with The Crow 2024. Now, before I do this review, this is not a knock on the acting. I love Bill Skarsgård. I'm not familiar with whoever's playing Shelley. Let's see. Yeah, I absolutely adore Danny Houston, but not in this movie. So, from this point out, there will be spoilers. So I'm going to start my spoiler-heavy review in 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. All right, so film starts off, and I think it's a Rob Zombie film. Why do I think it's a Rob Zombie film? Well, if you're going to ride, don't ride the white horse. White horse. So it opens up to the scene of a kid walking, or someone walking. We see his feet, and he's carrying a bag, like a Kroger bag. This is maybe foreshadowing, or symbolism, as another channel likes to say. Just trust Ash. Love them. And it does. So here's what you see. It opens up, you see a kid walking, and something makes him, and you hear a sound, and it's something so terrible. He drops his bottle of booze. Truthfully, I think he was on the way back from he was in the wrong meeting about the film pitch. So the booze was for him. He drops the booze, which, party, and he runs, right? And he sees this white horse, and the white horse is on its side. I personally believe that this is the same white horse from Halloween 2, directed by Rob Zombie, and the horse heard through the grapevine that Rob Zombie is making Halloween 3 and needed a white horse. So the horse got the fuck out of Dodge, and unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on if you're the horse or Rob Zombie, it ran into the barbed wire and got all fucked up, right? Okay. So, Eric's like, oh, what the hell? Get the barbed wire off. Clink. Cuts his hands. They should make it a point to show you his hands, right? But that's it. This comes back a little bit in the movie, but there's nothing. Oh. Alright, so you see his mama. She's on a couch. Now, initially, I said to myself, his mama was dead and he burned the trailer down because it was in a trailer. And they burned the trailer down. So I went back and checked it out again, and no, that didn't happen. I made that up. Might have actually been better. So, I think also what happened is when Eric sees the horse, he realizes that he might actually have to be in Rob Zombie's H3, and that's why he dropped the booze. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. And when the horse dies, wait for it, we see the horse's eye, right? And you can see what the reflection in the eye. And it's reflecting Eric. But all the crows are flying around him. Yeah. Then the credits come on. And it's just Pennywise playing in what I believe is motor oil. I changed that towards the end of what I really think it is. I don't think it's motor oil anymore. But initially I thought it was motor oil. So then it turns into a Jason Bourne film, right? You got the character Zadie, she's like super important in the oh wait, she's not in the comic. Never mind. I'm sorry. She's talking to Shelley, right? She's like, yo, I fucked up. I got this video. Here it is. Instead of being a good friend and not sending it to her, she sends it to her, but there's a reason. And she's like, yo, they're going to come and get me, and all this and that and the other. And while Shelley's on the phone with her, Zadie just happens to look over in the apartment that she's in and see, oh, there's a lady sitting on my couch. The lady's name is Marion. Yeah, she's also not in the book, but Marion's one of the bad guys that works for Top Dollar, except he's not known as Top Dollar. In fact, there is no Top Dollar. There's no T-Bird. There's no 1010. There's no Fun Boy. There's no Gideon. There's no Gideon's Pawn Shop. There's no Officer Albrecht. No. I don't even think this takes place in Detroit. None of that is in here, okay? The generic bad guys come in. I call them generic because I'm 5 minutes into the movie and I don't give a shit about these characters. I don't care. They shoot her in the, how's that go? She gets an injection, passes out, they take her away. Shelley hears all this and Shelley's like, you know what? Time to catch a train. So, she goes to catch a train. You get generic bad guy number 6. He's more of the main generic bad guy. Couldn't tell you his name. Don't care. He tries to get her, but she bumps into 2 cops and falls. And when she falls, her purse goes and everything goes and there's drugs in the bag. Yeah. So they arrest her. So they don't get her right then and there. But they send her to this place that I'm not sure is jail. And I'm not sure if it's just rehab. But what I will tell you is I have dubbed it the, hold on, I wrote it down because it's awesome. I call it the Michael Myers Recess Fun Time Pink Janny's Place. I'll say that again. The Michael Myers Recess Fun Time Pink Janny's Place. I'm curious if Rob Zombie is secretly the writer here. So you remember that scene in the remake of Halloween? Not Rob Zombie's. Jamie Lee Curtis, the first one. The new first one, 2018 or whatever, right? And they're in these in the playground recess area, right? And Michael Myers, he's chained up, and the guy goes, Michael. That's what this reminded me of, except pink jumpsuits. So she gets sent there on. Oh my God, Eric's there. He's kind of a puss in this. He's also a junkie, which kind of. They're both junkies. They both like their drugs. I don't necessarily know if I should say junkie, but if you did read the books, you do know that Eric Draven did use morphine in the books. So he meets her. It's like 7 minutes of movie time before they're besties and so super duper deeply in love. She goes into his room, cell, whatever, and notices he's an artiste. My review says he's a drawer. It's supposed to be drawer. It's not a word, but I wrote it that way. And he's a poet. And she goes, oh, you should set your music to poetry. Or you should set your poetry to music. And that kind of happens later. And they're super duper deeply in love. I wonder how it ends. I guarantee you, you don't. If you think you know, you don't. We'll get there. Yeah, so, bad guys show up. They found her. Oh no, bad guys have spies or whatever. And conveniently, Eric knows a way out. He's not used to it before, but he knows the way out. It's in the laundry room. You go through the window, and then you go over the fence, and they're free. So, they escape. They wear monitors, but they left them because they're smart, and it's, smart. So they get out of the prison jail, fun time, happy pink place, and it's nighttime, and there's a truck, and they hitch a ride. Now, mind you, they're wearing pink jumpsuits that match, and there's this place. It's either a prison, a rehab facility, or, I don't know, maybe it's Cyberdyne. But they get a ride, right? Well, I know that pink jumpsuits might not be that scary, so they made them ride in the back just in case. And then, bickety bam, they're back. Back in a New York groove. No. They're not in New York. And in fact, I don't believe they're in Detroit. I want to say it's Chicago, but I was never really that big into Renee Zellweger. Yeah. So now they're walking around the city wearing the pink jammies, matching pink jammies, trying not to be noticed by doing things like this. That works every time. That's just, Superman needed to do that. Lois would have never done. So they get to some apartment of some friend of Shelley's. And whenever time I say Shelley, I just hear Randy Marsh from South Park saying, Shelley? Shelley? Or hearing Shelley. So they go to this guy's apartment, or this person, it's a guy, because she says he. And he is in Antigua, Aruba, Arizona. I don't know. He's not there. So they're there. It's a real posh place. They bump uglies. And then they get in a bathtub, right? Because you got to wash. Then she remembers her friend has a secret stash in the wall behind the bureau. I was going to say drawer, but I want this review to be classy like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, inside the box is money and there's drugs. So they pop some pills. Good for them, I guess. I don't. Then they decide they're gonna go camping. I think it was camping. Yeah, I just got notice that they are reimagining the film Anaconda. You don't need to. Sorry if I look like I'm on drugs. I really don't feel well, and I'm tired, and I'm not on drugs. I'm on my pills, but I'm not on drugs. Well, those are drugs, but I'm not on anything illegal. Then they go camping. I don't know who these people are in this. I don't care. You know, the movie's not even out yet, so that's all I'm going to say. Copy wasn't so great. Anyway, I've forgotten some, and this is, I'm reading this verbatim. I forgot a few things, so this is going to be a bit out of order. Enter Danny Houston. I love Danny Houston, just not here. I'm assuming he's the main bad guy because he's got on, you know, a tuxedo, you know, like James Bond and shit. And there's Zadie on the floor, right? And he's all like, oh, hey. And she's like, hey. And he's like, what'd you do? And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, well, you did it. She's like, okay. And he tells her it's all good, right? She's like, oh, okay. And he walks over to her, and he's like looking at her, and you think like, oh, you know, he's such a nice guy. No, nobody thought that. We all knew something was going to happen. So he's ready. I gotta look at this because this is good. I wonder what dire fate awaits her. Could it be a shotgun blast to the face? Could it be a wood chipper? Could it be Satan? Yeah, it's Satan. That's yeah, I'm not joking, it's Satan. Danny Houston cut a deal with Satan over 100 years ago to become immortal, but the deal required him to send Satan innocent souls. So he whispers in her ear, her eyes go, like the Undertaker. Mankind. And she cuts her own throat. And then he cuts his hand. He puts his cut hand on her hand and sends her soul to hell, I guess. I don't know. I guess straight to hell. Like, not the pass and go, not collected. Straight to hell, by God. And then, let's see here. Let's see. Hold on. I've lost my place. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okay. So, can you see how this is going to end? Nope. You don't. Back in the Michael Myers Fun Time Zone, I know I said that they escaped, and they do, but I wrote this a little out of whack. I had cancer, and I had chemo brain, so fuck off. It's my review. You don't like it? Write your own. Oh, you can't. Not till tomorrow. So I told you about the music. Yeah. Okay, I actually wrote that this paragraph should be up at the top. Alright, so we cut to a scene of the cops pulling a body out of the water. It's Zadie and the cop, that I guess the detective, not Albrecht, calls Marion and says, we have a problem. And then she calls Danny Houston, whose name is Vincent. His name is Vincent in this, so not top dollar. And if you're in the comic books, not cheaper. Yeah. Spinning back makes it a point to tell us all, in the guise of a phone call, that the video that's Zadie, it's Zadie with a Z, not an S. Whatever. To move the plot along, that video could ruin him. And when we find out what the video is later, I don't want to ruin it just yet. So we go cut back to Eric and Shelley. They're walking on a bridge. Shelley is telling Eric, you know, I did this thing and I can't tell you what I did because it's horrible. Why not? Why can't you tell me? Because you wouldn't love me no more, and this, that, and the other. And she looks over the edge of the bridge and says, Eric, if I jumped, would you follow me? And he was like, nah, bitch, right? No. Nope. Yeah, no, that didn't happen. He said, of course, I would love to jump in the water after you, you know. They've known each other for like, I think at this point in time in reality, 24 minutes. Real time, not movie time. And then they had a conversation about lilies. Then bickety bam, pow, we're in the club. This dude finds Shelly and says, Shelly, you got a problem. We got a problem. The man is coming after us for that video. And Shelly's like, nuh-uh. And he's like, uh-huh. And then she's like, shit. And he's like, yeah, we gotta get the fuck up out here. Let's go. And she's like, oh, Eric. And he's like, who's that guy? First thing he said was, who's that guy? And then, they go to Eric's place. And this is kind of bugs me because this is, I believe this is the first time we're introduced. No, it's not. It's not the first time. But the bad guys find them. And here it comes. The murders. How do you think it happens? Do you think it was done by a gun? Nope. Satan? Not this time. Bags over the head. Bags over the head. And like, not like good bags, like Kroger bags, but like the shitty Walmart bags, except these are clear. And, you know, they're all sucking air and the plastic's going in the mouth. And the guy's got his arm around Shelly's neck and she's all like this, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. She has nails, pop a hole in it. And they don't do that. So, and this guy watches Eric watch, like he's choking out the girl, and the other guy's choking out Eric, and the guy that's choking out Shelly is all like, yeah, dude, what you gonna do? Yeah. And she's all like, bleh. And he goes, mwah, gives her a big kiss. Then Eric dies. Very sad. Very, very sad. And then Eric wakes up in, if I said hell, would you believe me? Good, because that's not where he wakes up. Wakes up at a train station. A fucking train station. And there's a man there. And this man, I believe, is the skeleton cowboy, except he's not a skeleton, nor is he a cowboy, but he is a guide. At one point in this movie, Eric asks the guy, are you an angel? The guy's like, no. This little line, people once believed that when someone dies, the little line that Sarah used in the original 94 Crow. Some back and forth, yada yada. This ain't real, it's real. You know, I'm gonna wake up, and the guy just shoves him, right? And goes, well then wake up, pop. And Eric falls down the hole. And then, picky bam, we're back at the apartment. Eric's looking for Shelly. There's a tattoo on his hand that isn't finished yet. It does get finished later. He hears something. It's Detective Smelly Cop. Eric's all like, my girlfriend. And Smelly Cop's like, yeah, dude, I'll help you. And Eric's like, but I think something bad. Bang! And the guy shoots Eric, right? And then, so, you got Eric go, and then he gets into a fight with the cop. The cop picks his stuff up, and stabs him in the belly, and pretty gnarly cut and blood and yuck, and then Eric kills the guy, and then Eric goes into the bathroom, takes a big shit. No, he goes into the bathroom, takes off his shirt, and we see him heal. And it's a lot different than how he healed, in 94. That's an improvement, I think. And they didn't use any tape or anything like that, like they did in 94 and in the graphic novel. Because if you look carefully, you will see that there is tape, electrical tape, and duct tape on that costume. Yeah. Eric is then walking on the bridge. And he imagines seeing Shelly, and she jumps. Whoa. So he's like, oh, I'm going to go catch this shit. Because I don't think we're not dead. And he jumps and back at the train station. Yes, the not skeleton cowboy why he's here. And why Shelly isn't here. With him. Then we get hit with Shelly's in hell. There's nothing you can do. Except there's a chance. You got to go back and kill them all. And Eric's like, fuck yeah. And if you can kill them all, you can get Shelly back. Eric's like, okay, cool. So I heal, right? And not Skeleton Cowboy says, yes, you heal, but you will feel the pain every time you get stabbed, shot, whatever. And then he tells Eric that this will only work if he keeps his love. His love is the only thing that's... If his love remains pure, he can't die. If his love does not remain pure, he can die. So he goes back, he's banging on the door of someone I don't know, and I'm not sure if he was introduced to us earlier in the film. I don't think he was. He tells a friend he needs a gun, friend gives him a gun. Okay, we cut to Shelly's funeral. Eric meets Shelly's mama. Eric says, hey, I saw you with the people that killed Shelly. And Shelly's mama's like, nuh-uh. And Eric's like, yeah, And so Shelly's mama's like, well, you don't know who you're messing with. And then she drops a drink and it goes all over the floor. And in the Avenging Wraith mode, Eric goes into Shelly's old bedroom and smells some stuff. Back outside, we get a long shot of Eric with the crow on his left side. Why is it on the left side? Because fuck that crow. Yeah. Eric finds the first of his victims. Black cat named Lex. I only know his name is Lex because I went to IMDb and got his name. And this is where the worst exchange with no passion, no nothing. It's bad. Eric walks up to the window and is like, hey. He doesn't say anything. And the guy says, I quote, I fucking killed you. Like that. Like, oh, hey, I fucking killed you. Not like, there's a fucking dead guy in front of me and I killed this guy. No, I fucking killed you. To which Eric responds, yeah, you did. And Eric's all like, I'm gonna in the gun. And then he just gets in the back seat and he goes, I want names. Give me the names. And you got the rear view shot. Watching each other. Lex goes for his gun. And Eric, kind of not really wanting to, shoots him. And blood goes. And it's like, shit, he didn't get the memo that if you shoot him, you don't get the names, right? But he does get the cell phone. Excuse me. Gets out of the car, and I think he's playing Angry Birds. I think that's truly why he got the cell phone. He went to play some Angry Birds or maybe Candy Crush Saga. Now, it doesn't actually show him playing Angry Birds or Candy Crush Saga, but it doesn't. It doesn't not show him. And I'm just telling you he's playing Angry Birds or Candy Crush Saga. It's my review. Big black SUV with tinted windows, stereotypical choice of the professional bad guy. Comes up and, it's filled with professional bad guys. And Marion. And Marion's dude. And Eric taking shots and they're like, pew pew, and they're like, hit him, and they go to hit him, and he clearly jumps up and puts the back into the windshield, and that's when it turns into the opening scene of Deadpool 1, I don't know if it was rich Corinthian leather, or what, but it's a lot of pew, 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 pew. And Marion's dude finally, gets the drop on him and opens the car door, kicks him out, and kind of like Deadpool, he heals. Remember that. But he's got a compound fracture on his leg. It's kind of gnarly looking, and he goes ah, because it hurts because he can feel it, but it fixed itself. Danny Houston goes and meets up with Shelly's mama. Found out her name is Sophia. She sold her soul too, and apparently gave Shelley up. Part of the deal. She's not real happy about it. So Danny Houston does his whisper voodoo and he leaves. And as he's walking to his car, where the opera singer is, it's a small bit of something with an opera singer. I was zoned out by this time, but there's an opera singer with him that he likes. And you hear the splat of Sophia jumping to her death and hitting the ground. But you don't see anything. Eric finds the guy that was at the club that told Shelley that Danny Houston was coming to beat him up. And he explains everything to Eric and tells him I think he tells him where the video is hidden. Eric tells him to get the fuck out. I'm assuming he meant get the fuck out of the life he's leading and not get the fuck out of the script. Eric goes back to the apartment of Shelley's friend in Aruba, finds a phone, and he watches the video. And this is when we find out what Shelley did. And it's so horrible, I have a hard time even speaking about it. But I'm going to, because I love you guys, and I've given you the truthful spoiler. I'm watching this so you don't have to. He whispers his Mojo Jojo shit into her ear. Her eyes go, ugh. And she goes over and she has a knife and she kills some chick. That's it. That's what Shelley did. And Eric's all like, oh, I can't watch this. My girlfriend killed somebody. So he falls out of love with her. This love is no longer pure. You know what that means. He can die. So, hold on, I'm looking. Yep. Okay. He can die, but he's already dead. That movie's weird. Eric goes back to his friend. Remember his friend that he got the gun from? Yeah. Find out his name is Chance. He took the wrong chance because the generics followed or somehow knew where this was, and they go in and get Eric, and they're like, yo, you gotta come with us. Kind of like in Lucky Number 11, I was waiting for Pennywise to be like, yo, I'm Sleva Calabra. So he's like, I'm not on with you motherfuckers, and he starts a fight, and the friend's like, what the fuck? And the generics are like, yeah, we're gonna pick you up, and one generic shoots the friend in the eye, in this eye right here, and Eric takes a shotgun blast to the chest, stomach, whatever, and he falls into a bathtub, and then he dies because he's out of love. I'm sorry, I keep saying that wrong. His love for Shelley is no longer pure. Goes back to hell. Meets the not skeleton cowboy, and they're like, what the fuck? And skeleton cowboy, not skeleton cowboy's like, yo, you had the opportunity and you fucking blew it. What you mean? You fucking blew it. It's over. It's done. We're done here. You can go on. Go to heaven. Be happy. And Eric thinks about it for like a second. And he's like, no. That's not gonna happen. Not Skeleton's like, yeah, it's gonna happen. And Eric's like, well, ain't that about a bitch? No, I'm kidding. He says, I volunteer as tribute. No, that's not it. My life for you, bumpity bump. No, I was Trash Can Man. Oh, that's right. He said, my soul for hers. Ooh, that's a bingo. And not Skeleton Cowboy's like, nah, we ain't doing this shit. And Eric's like, yeah, we are. And he's like, nah. And he's like, you know what? The crows will decide. And the crows flying around. One of them hits him in the back, and all the crows have decided. So, like, Eric's down on his knees. He's all like kind of think of Brandon Lee from the first one in the scene where they kill him, like this with his arms out. He's all like, I'm the crow, dude. And not Skeleton Cowboy's like, okay. And he cuts his hand. And then he puts his this and this and this, and he gives Eric well, it's not the crow pass, but he gives him and he calls it the black blood. And with this blood, you can move between worlds. So you get the shot for all the Pennywise fans of how sculpted the cat is. And I gotta say, Skarsgård is fucking built in this one. He is ripped. And thinking, damn! Opens his eyes in the tub. They think they killed him. They are like, fuck, we killed him. And the one guy's like, yeah, you fucked up. And then Eric's like, oh, hey guys. And he massacres them. And then he finds the one generic guy, the one that shot his friend, is also the generic guy that killed Shelley. So he's all like, like, hey. And Eric's all like, no, you didn't. And he shoots him, I think. Shoots him in the leg or something. And then he goes into the room where that guy is, saved him from last. And instead of shooting him or stabbing him or throwing him out a window, he takes the shotgun and beats him to death with it. Okay, so that's not terrible. Then he just kind of sits down next to his dead homie and reads a text from the generic guy's phone. And it says, at the opera tonight. Yeah. I am somewhat kidding. It doesn't say that. It says, the opera. And that's where they're at. So, Danny Houston finds out that Lex is dead by Marion. I'm not too sure who she's supposed to be. I heard the writer said, fuck the crow and fuck James O'Barr, and this is what we get. And the studio's they know Eric is at the opera, because it's in the script. And this is where it turns into Inglourious Bastards. Or any other movie that has murder by swords and guns in a theater. Come to think of it, that has nothing to do with Inglourious Bastards. And we don't have Bridget von Hammerschmark to get choked to death by Tarantino. So, it's not like that at all. Alright, murder, kill. Danny calls Marion and basically says, fuck off, you. Thanks for everything. Bye-bye. Bang, bang, click, clink, stab. And Eric gets up to where Marion is. Marion's dude is in there, and he's all like, I'm gonna pow, pow, pow. Eric's all like, bitch, please. He's like, pow, pow, pow. And he gets decapitated. Because as you know, there could be only one. So then he goes to Marion, like, where is he? She's like, he ain't here, motherfucker. And he's like, where is he? And she tells him. And she's like, you and him I'm paraphrasing her, a lot alike. See it in the eyes and in the face, but he hides it better than you. Oh, with her head. And then this is the part that doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, the opera is at the end. The bows and the adoration and the flowers are flying up on stage. And Eric just walks out casually. Hey, how you doing? And he's got the heads, right? Hey, look, I got heads. Hey, there's nothing wrong with head, but he's not holding them by the hair. He's holding them by the stumps of the neck. And then he just goes, whee! And throws them into the crowd. And it's like, oh, people are scared and running. And yeah. So, it's weird. Steals the car. Finally gets face to face Danny Houston and Eric. Yes! Danny's like, well, just so you know, you can't save her. She's in hell, bro. And you don't come back from that. But my bad. Sorry for killing her. But she was corrupted. Then he asks Eric if he feels anything. Do you feel anything? And Eric's all like, bitch, I feel it all. And then, hoodoo, voodoo, mojo, magic, whisper. And Eric's eyes go, whoop, and bloop. And he rolls his eyes back in his head, and pow, Eric is in the Dr. Pepper again. Remember earlier when I said I thought it was motor oil? Dr. Pepper. Prove me wrong. And I was correct. When he's in the Dr. Pepper, there's flashback. There's a lot of flashback stuff. And this is where he gets his rekindled love, purity for Shelley. And there's a scene of the little kid standing in front of the burning trailer. So, he's hillbilly. Flashbacks make him off Shelley again, and whoosh. Eric and Danny Houston go through the window. And down. Down. Down! Until... Do you think they splattered? Do you think they, hit a car? No, because they landed in a train station. This train station is as boring as the train station from Matrix. Neo sitting in the train station. So, well, hey, wait a minute. What is this place, Danny Houston says? This is the place where he pays for all the souls he sent down to Satan. Actually, in my script, I wrote Beelzebub. Oh, I wrote Beelzebub, dead milkman. Danny calls Shelley a whore, and Eric starts beating Danny Houston up and shoves him down into the Dr. Pepper. Then, of course, Danny Houston gets dragged to hell. Fucking Justin Long and that gosh darn button. Shelley comes up out of the Dr. Pepper. Kind of like Lady in the Lake holding Excalibur. And they reunite, yada yada. She's like, hey, wait a minute, what'd you do? What's going on here? What happened? What did you do? Why am I here? And this is where the film throws us the biggest fuck you, Crow fans. The biggest fuck you to the Crow fans. Shelley is allowed to go back to being alive. Let that sink in. Shelley is allowed to go back to being alive. Mind you, she's already been buried. But she's and I know we can say the same thing about the first Crow, but the wine incision and the thing in the butt and the sewn stuff, but we're not going to talk about that because it's not the script. So Shelley is allowed to go back to being alive. That was the deal. Eric is not allowed to go with her. Eric will never see her again, according to the not skeleton cowboy. And they're hugging and loving each other, and she keeps getting jerked like that, and he's holding on, she keeps getting jerked like that, and finally she pop. Time travel. Yes, time travel. Here's the thing. She is allowed to go back to the world of the living. But she's buried, so how do they get around that? They go back to the apartment. Death scene, but that's where they go back. And the jerking back is the trope of the queer. And so she's, what the fuck? And she looks over at Eric, and they're like, nah, he ain't make girl, he dead. And she's like, and yeah, Eric is as dead as a dead person. Or in other words, this is the really real world. There ain't no coming back. Also, the not skeleton cowboy, he's the paramedic that brings Shelley back to life. The end. So, overall, I give this film a solid rating of fuck you, with a freshness rating of kiss my ass, and a Metacritic rating of nope. This has been the inaugural edition of I'll Watch It So You Don't Have To. I may never do this again. Good night.